Alright guys, real quick before we start the video, I went to the police department to try to get help with a medication refill. I walked in the Tuckahoe Police Department and I met with Officer Solano, as you see here, and I asked him if he can drive me to the hospital. He told me he can't because he's at the desk. He gave me the number to White Plains Hospital and told me that they could set up a way for me to get to the hospital. So I walked outside and I called White Plains Hospital, and they told me they don't do that and there's no way they can possibly do that, and that I should call for an ambulance. But we're gonna get to that in a second. When I walked in the Tuckahoe Police Department, Officer Solano was very rude to me. He had an issue with me recording him. He has a problem with, I guess, the First Amendment. I film. The reason why I film all my encounters is because I was assaulted by a constable and a paramedic, Matthew Stein and Richard Perry, and I was hogtied and gagged on Pondfield Road. And this man has no bedside manner or no courtesy for that at all. Even when Detective Leone walked by, I don't know if we'll see it in this, but I won't even include this in the video, not out of respect for Officer Solano, just because the audio is shitty. But I raised the camera up to say hello to Detective Leone, and Solano's like, no, lower the camera. So I don't know what his deal is. But I don't just film people just for the hell of it. I film because it's DTA. It's don't trust anyone. And truly, this is what you're going to see in this video. It's gross negligence, and you can't trust anyone, especially in Tuckahoe now. You can't trust anyone but family. You can't trust anyone. I can't trust anyone but my uncle and my cousin, because it truly shows now. But we're going to get into the next clip of at the railroad station in Tuckahoe, where because he told me I could take a train. So I went to the railroad station, and the MTA police showed up to see if I can get on the train, and this is what happened.
Wait, what did you call about?
Well, I went to Officer Solano, and I told him that I needed a way for him to drive me to the hospital. And he gave me the number to White Plains Hospital, and he said that they would have someone to drive me to the hospital. So I called them, and they said they don't do that. And then he told me to go take a train. I told him I have no way of doing that. I don't have any money or nothing. So I walked over here, and the person told me, well, he called you.
So wait, what do you need a hospital for?
Well, that's the thing. I don't want to tell anyone because...
Are you okay? Like, is it an emergency?
It can turn into an emergency, but I don't want the ambulance. I was wondering if you can drive.
We can't do that.
It don't work like that.
That's
We
not
have
how
to
it
have an
works.
ambulance come, because that's
Because
not
we're not EMS. That's a high risk. God forbid something happens
Well,
in the
nothing's
backseat.
going to happen. It's just...
See, but we don't know that. It's a liability. It's a problem. We are not trained as EMS. So if I have you in the back seat and whatever issue you have going on happens in that 20, 30-minute drive, God forbid,
that's on us.
That's on us.
Yeah, but...
There's a whole policy that
that's why you have to go on the ambulance.
Like, we have to call an
Yeah,
ambulance.
but the ambulance here, the guy, Richard Perry, he's a paramedic. He down that street on Pondfield Road in Bronxville, he tied me up with rope along with a constable named Matthew Stein.
Okay, guys, so what happens at this point in the video, my camera shuts off. I turn it back on, and so you can see in the next clip. But the reason why I didn't want an ambulance is because of my experiences with evac, and that's why I was saying to Officer Solano if he can drive me himself, and I was asking these officers if they could drive me. Everything was fine at first. Then this Tuckahoe police officer shows up, and I don't know. The MTA officers asked if he got a call, and he admitted he did not get a call. As far as I know, Tuckahoe police have no jurisdiction at the Tuckahoe railroad station. This Tuckahoe police officer shows up. The only word is to be nosy at the Tuckahoe railroad station with the MTA police officers. They already told me they can't help me. Now he shows up to be nosy. And then it goes, this lady goes 0 to 100. I'm explaining to her my situation, and she's not understanding. She's saying she knows me from somewhere and that I've called her before tons of times about this. I don't know this lady. I don't know who she is. She's lying. She's lying. And she even goes to the Tuckahoe police officer and lies some more and says that she knows me, and the Tuckahoe police officer lies to her. And this Tuckahoe police officer goes as far as to say, I said, well, can you call a St. Vincent's, because St. Vincent's has refilled medication before for me. They didn't. I called them. They said they wouldn't because I'm not a patient. But he said he wouldn't call anyone. I said Sergeant Pinto said he would call last time for me if I needed help. But this guy even said that Sergeant Pinto is not there. Sergeant Pinto's away. So this Tuckahoe police officer went as far to say that. But these two MTA, I feel bad for this guy, this MTA police officer right here, that he has to ride around with the lady that you're about to see some more of. But she goes 0 to 100. She says she's not going to call me an ambulance, even though I told her the situation. The White Plains Hospital already said call an ambulance if you have no way to get there. The MTA police officers wouldn't put me on a train to get to the hospital. A way that they can do. I'm sure there's a way that you can be put on a train or some type of voucher or something, but they wouldn't do that. So they left me in the lurch, and this is just true gross negligence right here. But she's gonna lie and say she knows me. The only thing I can suspect if she's getting calls from people saying that I'm not there and she's got calls for service is that man from Ireland has been calling her, pretending to be me or whatever, and that's what my brother-in-law even said it probably is. But we're gonna see some more of her. So
here's I'll give you my ID. Yeah, here's my ID right there. I'm a United States Boy Scout.
Does you actually have another ID?
There's behind that should be my ID. I just don't want to be, assaulted or harassed by the ambulance.
Like I said, there's not much.
Our hands are tied. Like that's how things work. We can't just put you on something. They don't know why they're taking you to the hospital. They can't do that. And we cannot drive you. He cannot drive you. It's just not how it works.
I mean, if you gotta call Nick. But I mean, I just don't want you to. He's gonna lie. I want you to witness what he's gonna say.
Who's Nick?
Loros.
Do you know a Nick Loros?
He's Chester PD and also evac.
He's the chief.
I don't know.
He's the chief of
evac.
evac.
Be calling anyone personally.
Nick Loros is gonna come here and he's gonna start lying. That's what he did when he tied me up over there. That's what happened when I was assaulted. Well, I was lied on at that Starbucks. I just want my medication.
Then if you need medication and it's not a medical emergency where you need to be transported by an ambulance to go to the hospital, you have to make your own way.
Yeah, you have to.
We cannot use resources just because you have to pick up a medicine bottle or whatever you need to get.
It's not picking up a medicine bottle. If I stop taking this, I'm prone to a seizure.
Okay, yes, but then you have to go to the hospital to get your medication. We are not your Uber to take you to get your medication. We cannot call an ambulance and you not let them do their job.
I'm not saying they're not going to do their job.
You're saying White Plains doesn't let you pay for the medication. Understood. They must take certain insurance. Bronxville obviously makes you pay. You have to pick up your medication from their pharmacy. Basically is what you're telling me.
No, the doctor sees me, then they send it to the pharmacy.
But you have to make an appointment. That's up to you. That's not up to us. You have the responsibility to make your appointment, pick up your medication. We cannot use resources when there's people actually hurt who need that resource. So no, we cannot drive you because we have jobs to attend to. We can't do that. I'm not going to call an ambulance here. I'm sorry. I'm not going to call an ambulance here because you don't want them to do their job. I'm not going to watch them. Like, it's just not how it works.
Well, can
you
you call?
Figure out your own way. You got to figure out your own way. This is your responsibility. You can't call us for something like this. I'm sorry. Because you've called us for something like this before in Bronxville. I picked up that call and you weren't even there. So I can't do this.
No, I called you about that man assaulting me.
Yes, and we were there. You weren't even there. So you
What do you
didn't
mean
get the
I
report.
wasn't there?
There was just you've done this a few times. But like I said, not talking about that job. This right now, you're not getting an ambulance. You have to figure out your way to White
Then how am I
Plains.
going to get my medication?
You have to figure that out. You're grown. We're not your taxi cabs. The ambulance is not your taxi to take you all the way to White Plains. And even then, it's up to them if they want to take you to White Plains Hospital. So
it's not. So you're saying I can't get service?
that's not how it works. We're not Uber drivers.
I'm not saying. I said call the ambulance
For what?
for the issue with the medication.
That's not their job.
So they can't refill the cake.
No, they cannot. They cannot take you to hospital for a refill. They cannot do that.
Even so, I'm supposed to wait until I have the seizure.
You have to go to the
You have to
hospital
show up.
yourself.
You
You
have
have
to
to
make your
go
way
pick
over
up your own medication.
So how am I gonna get there? Can you give me a voucher to go on the train?
We don't do that. There's no vouchers
Then
to
how
get
am
on
I
the
gonna
train.
get on the train
Then how
to
did
get-
you get here?
Well, I live around here. I mean, how am I gonna get the White Plains
I don't
Hospital?
know. You gotta figure it out. I can't. I'm not.
So
I'm not your
I'm
servant.
supposed to have a. Do you want to see my papers, like
What paper? That has nothing
my
to do with
medical
me.
diagnosis
no, that's
papers?
none of my business. That's your medical business. But you have to handle that stuff on your own. We are not the resources for that.
Well,
Ambulances, that's not their job.
Then can you call a medical professional here?
No, you
Some
have
type
to go,
of.
you have to figure that out. I'm not calling an ambulance here. I'm sorry.
Then can you call someone else?
Who?
Someone else
There's
who.
nobody you could call. You have to go to White Plains Hospital, pick up your medicine. That's on you. You have to figure that out. I'm not going to keep repeating myself. That's just how it works. I'm sorry. But you have to pick up medication at the pharmacy at White Plains.
This is
That's
medication that is serious
Yes,
medication.
it is serious medication. I'm sure. I'm not denying it. But you have to pick that up yourself. That is your responsibility.
I'm gonna show you.
I don't need to see anything, and I don't want to see anything. That's your business. It's all up to you. We're done here. That's it. Figure it out. We can't do anything further. I'm sorry. I tried to work with you, but it's sounding like this is not our job. We got other things to attend to.
Can someone call?
There's nobody else to call. I'm not calling an ambulance, and we're not driving.
I talked to
That's
him.
it. He's
You
gonna.
spoke to us. You came to headquarters.
Yeah,
They
well-
said they refused to call.
He gave me the number to White Plains Hospital.
Okay. Well, I can't help you. My hands are tied. Their hands are tied. I can't help you.
Or can you call some type of other person who deals with these types of matters?
You just have to get there somehow, some way.
Or how
You don't
am I
have? Do you have money for the train? Anything?
I don't have any money. What
Unfortunately, I can't help you. I'm sorry.
Can you call St. Vincent's?
Not St. Vincent's?
No,
No,
St.
I mean, you
Vincent.
could look it up on your phone and call.
You can't call St. Vincent's
You
to
have
come
a
here?
phone right in your hand.
No,
You
only
have a phone
evac
right in
comes
your
here.
hand.
Only in this jurisdiction. Only evac comes here.
Well, Sergeant Pinto said that he would call evac not evac, St. Vincent's if I needed them the last time of it.
Well, unfortunately, Sergeant Pinto is not here. He's away.
But you have a
So
phone,
no one
you
could
can
call anyone here.
No, only evac calls. Maybe he was gonna do a favor for you, but he's not here. Like, my hands are tied. I'm not. You just have to find a way to get some.
So I'm supposed to
call.
call. So, I don't see how I'm supposed to get this medication then.
You gotta figure it out.
So who do I? So I call St. Vincent's. Who?
I don't know what they're gonna tell you, but it's your best bet if you want
Try.
to.
I'm confused.
I don't
Because-
know what you're confused about.
I told you the medical issue, but it doesn't seem like
It's a medical issue. You have to pick up medicine. You
It's
have
not
to
picking
make
up
your way
medicine. I
there.
have to go to a doctor. The doctor
That's
to.
your responsibility to make the appointment and get there. That's not our responsibility. Police department is not.
I'm not
ambulance
asking
is
the
not-
police department. I'm asking
Okay.
you to call the.
The
Do I?
that's
You want
not
me to
their
call
job.
the ambulance?
You can call 911 and ask for an ambulance.
Okay.
And then
What
they
we
will
learned
transfer.
from this video is that this woman who's covering her name and her shield number thinks that I have to go to the pharmacy in White Plains to get my medication refilled, which is incorrect. I have to go to the emergency room to get my medication. She just completely flips out on me, saying, in lies too, saying that I had calls for service with her and that I wasn't there. I don't know this woman. The only MTA police officer I ever spoke to was Lieutenant Booker. Unless this woman is Lieutenant Booker, it looks like her name has a D on there. Unless she's Lieutenant Booker, I don't know who this woman is. I don't know. She's a liar, pathological liar. I don't know who she is. I don't know who he is. And him. This fucking guy showed his true colors right here, thinking he's bigger than Sergeant Pinto. Here, let's pause on him for a second. Thinking he's bigger than Sergeant Pinto. Motherfucker. You may think you're bigger than Vincent Pinto, but you're not bigger than James Kennedy or Officer McCann. Okay? You're not bigger than him. Alright? You only have a few months on the fucking job. Alright? You should have just kept driving down the road. You showed up to be nosy. You made the situation worse. Saying you're not going to call anyone for help. This woman's blatantly lying to you. You're believing her, saying that she knows me and shit. This woman doesn't know who the fuck I am, and I don't know who she is. Saying I call her about shit like this, that I've done this a few times. I don't know who that woman is, and you're going to believe her and take sides with her. And you're not going to call me help and thinking I have to go to a pharmacy. I don't have a pharmacy. I don't even know where a pharmacy in White Plains is. Look at this smug prick. Officer Solano already said he couldn't help me, and this guy shows up to be fucking nosy. This man right here, he's not going to make it very long as a police officer. He's not. He's not. He has no bedside manner. He's a smug prick. A smug fucking prick. He wouldn't call anyone there to help me. Lieutenant DeYoung called someone to help me in Bronxville, which you'll see in the next video. With this prick right here, and they said to me that I can call the ambulance myself. They told me to call the ambulance myself. Once I was done with them, I called St. Vincent's back. That was my second time calling them back, and they told me they couldn't help me because I'm not a patient. This is what these motherfuckers did. They couldn't put me on a train. I'm not good at articulating myself, you know. And this is what I told Lieutenant DeYoung. But I did not say anything about a pharmacy. Not once did I mention anything about a pharmacy. Not once did I mention that I had to go to White Plains for a pharmacy. So this is just something they concocted in their head, that I had to go to a pharmacy for a medication refill. I said I had to go to the hospital for a medication refill. The hospital told me to call an ambulance to get to the hospital for the medication refill if I had no way to get there. So the hospital's full of shit to these police officers. These people aren't EMTs or doctors or anything. But this is what this is. This true gross negligence is what you see. But in the next video, we're going to see Lieutenant DeYoung and the Bronxville police save the day.